Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. We try to make sense of this crazy Arizona market, and we're going to take a look at the Great Divide. I'm going to use some real general terms like many and lots and a bunch. So what we're seeing now is many sellers are testing and saying, "Well, I'm going to list my home. If it doesn't sell, I'm going to put it back on the market." This tells me that sellers, many of them, are very optimistic about next year or the year after, believing that this year is not a good year to sell their home because they're not getting their asking price. So therefore, they can just wait it out and then they will. Now, buyers are exactly the opposite. Buyers are saying, well, I'm not going to offer anybody their asking price. Even if it comes in and looks like it's a decent asking price, I'm still going to come in way below what they're asking because I think it's really slow out there and I'll probably get it. And you've really got to do your research with your agent if that's where we're writing an offer. Let's say you look at a house and it's 600,000. Well, dive in and look and see where that 600,000 falls in the recent market values of homes that have sold there. Factor in that real estate's going down and then decide where you want to come in. Some people just look at the 600,000 without saying, it probably would have been a fair listing price at 650. But they look at 600,000 now and they go, well, I'm offering them 535 without really doing any homework and looking at it. And of course, the seller goes, go away. I'm not even going to counter. I'm just going to reject your offer. So you got to be very strategic when you're approaching that. So we're going to go through some of the numbers. I'm going to show you where our active listings are today. And in fact, they're going down to the surprise of many people. Not really to me, because you could see that the listings were going to go down over the holidays. I look at my 7-day moving average here, and you can see it's kind of creeping back up where we started. This little yellow dip down here, that's the 4th of July holiday. The black line is contracts. The yellow area is new listings, and you can see that they're both climbing back up. Now, what we're seeing here is the big what do I call it? The big smell in the room is expired listings. Look at how they've jumped. So that is the big indicator that says, well, I listed it and I didn't get it, so I let the listing expire. So now real estate agents, when you're going and you're going to go on a listing appointment, you got to ask one question. Are you listing to list or listing to sell? So there's a big difference. If you're listing to sell, then let's make sure the price is right so we can sell it. If you're listing just to list it, well, good luck with that because it's going to sit there for a while. So, are you going to test the market? I can tell you what the answer to that test is going to be. Well, I think I might be able to get this. That's called wish pricing. So, and it's starting to bite a lot of people, and it rolls up into that expired number, as you can see. Canceleds have the same rate of incline as well. And there's this big divide between buyers and sellers that I haven't seen in a long, long time. In fact, I don't recall ever seeing it this far apart. Here's the number of price changes per week. They're going back up. They dipped down for the 4th of July, so nothing monumental there. And here's the year-over-year percent change in list pricing per square foot. Now, list pricing is coming down, but you'll see here it's down like 5.1% versus last year. That's not a huge dip, especially when you see people saying real estate's going to go down 20 and 30. Well, it's not. It's not going down in list pricing by that percentage. It's not going down in sales pricing. Here is the real measurement here, though. It is list price and sales price per square foot. That's the gap that I'm talking about. What sellers want, what people are paying. It's a big gap, and it's getting bigger. And so it's going to stay that way until something changes. Either inventory tightens up more or interest rates go down. And if interest rates do go down, that'll make inventory tighten up. Maybe people will jump back in. We don't know yet. Here's the 12-month moving average on list price per square foot. And it's not taking a huge dip down. But if you look at the year-over-year change in sales price right here, you'll see that it hasn't done much. That was the wrong one here. Here we go. It's actually showing that year over year is up 1%. So the actual closed sales, they're not in negative territory by much. So that's where the market is. I'm going to go through some gauges here in a moment, and I want to show you an interesting article that came up. But first, I'm going to preface this with this. Preface it. Is that the right word? I'm going to show this first. I did a video with Pat a couple weeks ago talking about capital gains taxes. Pat and you and I have talked about this before. Homeowners face a stiff penalty for staying in their homes too long. They call it a hidden home equity tax. Basically, what this article is alerting to is there's 48.5% of us here in Arizona that are over the threshold. In other words, capital gains tax for a single person is 250,000. For married couples, 500,000, and 48% of us are over that because they didn't index it to inflation. If they'd have done that, now single person would be 600,000. We'd be 1.2 million per couple. And that's another reason for, besides rate lock, for people. I mean, face it, there's some people out there got tremendous equity that would love to cash this out, downsize, and, get a motorhome, do anything, but you got that big capital gains thing hanging over. Now, me being the guy that I am, I'm like, get rid of it. I was saying, you know what? I think they ought to just get rid of the capital gains tax. Personally, that's just me. Well, here's this. But now, U.S. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's time to end what she calls an unfair penalty on hard-earned equity. On Thursday, she introduced the No Tax on Home Sales Act. She must watch the show. That would eliminate the federal capital gains tax on the sale of her primary residence. Now, introducing a bill, seeing it go through are two different things. We're certainly learning that, but I certainly find it interesting that somebody is saying, you know what, let's get rid of that thing. I just don't see the point of it. They keep adjusting it, tweaking it. If it was tied to the index, inflation index, it would be much higher, but they didn't do that. And that's kind of the problems with a lot of government programs. They throw things in and then they figure out what's wrong with it later. But let's take a look at what's going on in our market right here. Now, if you want a detailed zip code market report for your zip code, there's a link in the description down below. Click that. A lot of people are using it. I send you out a very detailed report, but for now, and also you can subscribe to my newsletter on there too. It comes out Monday morning at 7 a.m. Here's where Anthem is. See the supply index? It's green. It means that there is not an excess amount of supply. The market index is 148. That's fairly healthy. And demand is slow at 90.1. Look at Apache Junction. Almost like Anthem, but I'm going to show you this one, Buckeye here. Oh boy, they got a lot of houses. Their market index is 49 and their demand is low. That's an area where there's a lot of new construction and they're feeling it there. Cave Creek, their supply is not bad. Their market index is kind of right in the balance zone, but their demand is a little soft. Chandler is about the same. Their supply is so-so. Their market index is about balanced, and their demand is low at 74. El Mirage here, supply 42.2. They got a lot of not a lot of supply. Therefore, their market's in the green, but their demand is down. Fountain Hills is supply is not excessive. If it's excessive, it's in the red. And yellow means we're kind of balanced right now, and demand is a little low. Gilbert comes in about where Chandler is. Their market index is pretty low, though, at 89.1, and that's driven by low demand. Glendale here, supply is in the green, balanced as far as the market index, and a little slow when it comes to demand. Gold Canyon, balanced supply, red when it comes to the market index, and because the demand is low. Kind of a retirement area. Goodyear, supply, a lot of houses out there for sale. The market is in the red at 76. Demand is what you call balanced. Levine, almost the same. Market index 80.6, demand at 89. Litchfield Park, here we have supply is heavy, and we have market index of 54.2 and demand at 78.7. Pretty soft there. Maricopa is taking a beating. Lots of supply, and their market index 51.7. Same thing as Buckeye, a lot of new construction. Mesa, supply's not bad. They're kind of balanced when it comes to the market index, a little soft in the demand index. Paradise Valley, having a good year. Supply is low. The market index is good, and the demand is slightly lower than balanced because it's summertime. Here's Peoria here. Supply is normal. Market index 73.5, mostly driven down by lower demand. Phoenix here, green as far as supply, balanced as far as the market index, and a little slower demand. You can see over and over, you're just seeing lower and slower demand. Queen Creek's getting hit pretty hard with supply. It's affecting their market index, and their demand is 92.4. Scottsdale, overall, not too bad. Seeing supply fairly decent. The market index is balanced, and their demand index is slightly lower at 70.8. The retirement communities balanced, almost balanced, almost balanced. Not too bad in Sun City. Sun City West, about the same, kind of balanced. Sun Lakes, almost the same. Most of their inventory drops down in the summertime, and they have, but the demand has kind of stayed there. Surprise, red, and almost red. Tempe, green, little bit of yellow, and a slow demand. And Tolleson, supply index is green, market is green, demand is a little bit red. So that's where you're at in the market overall. Like I say, if you want to see a individual report for your zip code, send that to me in that link. I'll get it out to you as soon as I get it. Sometimes it takes me a day to get to it, but you will get it. And that's where our market is today. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at rick@rickhelps.com. Take care.